So we're here in one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen. Like, I think I've seen pictures of the Badlands my whole life, living in Iowa when I was a kid, thinking it was like super far away. I know my cousins who lived in Western Iowa, they came here, they're like, oh yeah, it's in Western South Dakota, it takes forever to get there. We were kids, so in my mind, it's always so far away. It's like a 10-hour drive from where I grew up. It's not that far. And this is one of the coolest national parks in America in a sense, because not because it's big or vast or the amount of wildlife, but certain things about it. It's cheap to get in. It's like $20 for your car. There's free camping. You can pay $20 if you need real toilets or something, but there's fairly decent toilets in the other campgrounds that we're in. And you have all of this. You just drive through looking at it, and the restaurant in this place is pretty cool. It's like just like a little divey diner feeling sort of thing, but they have their version of the Indian taco, which is basically a fry bread with taco on top of it. It's pretty cool. I guess the reason why I'm showing you this park is like I want to introduce our idea of conservation society. So the idea is that there's all these spaces that are beautiful, they're interesting, they're public, they're wild, some are private. All of this nature needs conserving in some sort of way. And all of us come at it from a different angle. And we need to find a way to come together to meet each other where we agree and stop thinking about where we disagree. And make this world a better place, conserve these places. We need more habitat for wild animals because certain animals need more space than others. The increase in certain populations that we have has happened because people have put some money and some time and some energy into creating more habitat. In the 90s, we lost a lot of wild habitat because the price of crops went up and farmers started farming edge to edge, and people stopped valuing these wild spaces as much. And since then, people have worked to kind of pull some of it back, and because of that, we live in like the golden era since then of wildlife. We have tons of deer. The pheasants in Iowa last year were the best they'd been in over a decade, and that doesn't come from nothing. That comes from management and like what we do. So like, if you're somebody who's a hiker and you just like observing nature, if you're somebody who likes to paddle down rivers, or if you're somebody who likes to hunt, who likes to fish, somebody who's just eco-friendly and just, maybe you don't like factory farming, and maybe you just live in a city, maybe you don't spend a ton of time in these spaces, but you still see the value. Like, we need to have a real conversation and understand each other. About a year ago, I decided to start hunting with my partner, Rebecca. We had this conversation, and we've been trying to provide for ourselves as much as possible through, gardening and foraging, and we had even done a little bit of our own butchering, because we thought, if we were going to eat meat, we should at least be a part of the process and have a really first-hand experience and really understand it and understand the ethics of killing an animal. The only way you can know that is to experience it firsthand. And so after that, we realized, maybe hunting would be a really good way to just know exactly what happened. And there's this renewable resource out there of all these animals in nature that we can take advantage of and create some balance, because there's not a lot of apex predators. And if there were a lot, frankly, regardless of who you are, I don't think a lot of us really want grizzly bears in our backyard. It's fine to have some of them in certain parks and to really understand where they're at, but there's a certain order to nature that has to be held, and some of that culling of herds has to happen from people. So like, for us ethically, it makes sense. And so we're going to show you some videos of maybe some unconventional hunters and maybe our experiences. Like, neither one of us come from a place of growing up hunting really. We both fished a bit growing up. It was really fun. I really got it back into fishing about 4 years ago, and then kind of drug Rebecca into a couple of really fun fishing outings, and she really got into it. And so, you know, that kind of maybe opened the door for us in some sort of way. And then the foraging and some of these other things, it kind of led us down this path. But I guess what I'm getting at is we're going to show you, you know, my first attempt at an elk hunt in Montana, the first stage of it, because it's actually going to be in 2 stages. This first stage was more of a scouting opportunity than anything, because getting to know an area of land that's all the way across the country is nearly impossible without the help of a guide. So, and then Rebecca's doing a field to fork event, which is a really cool thing that was started in Kentucky by Jamie Cook, the guy who's organizing the event here in Iowa for Pheasants Forever. He's the outreach coordinator. He's helped put this whole system together in this concept of field to fork. Apparently he came up with the name, which is really cool. Like, to have somebody who's been so passionate about this for so long, because at this point now there's, you know, Kentucky and Georgia both have done, those 2 states have done a ton, and there's like, I think 20 some odd events happening just in those 2 states, or even more. I don't know, my numbers could be off, but there's a lot happening there. And this is some of the first in Iowa, and he's traveling to different places to plant the seed to get people to have more access to this knowledge of this like ancient human tradition that's hunting. So what's cool about the Field of Fork event that Rebecca's doing is when we show this to you and you see the group, it's pretty awesome. They're a super diverse group of people who come at it from completely different perspectives, and I think it'll be a fun story. That's this coming weekend is when the hunt's happening, and we're going to document that a little bit. And then besides that, you know, we're going to try to find different people who are willing to have conversations about how they work towards conservation and how they can help other people understand their perspective. So like, if you're a hunter and you have a unique message that maybe some people who are rock climbers need to hear to understand you, and if you're a rock climber, you want a hunter to understand like why you feel the way that you do about nature, I think that in itself, that real community, that'll give us power, and that'll give us the ability to really make some amazing things happen.